Maybe we'll give people another minute before we start. Bill, how was your trip?
Fantastic. Really, really
Awesome.
fun.
That's
Beautiful.
cool.
Very on the north rim of the Grand Canyon. It's incredibly remote.
Oh my gosh.
5 days of riding. We saw one other bike on the trails. We saw 4 people total hiking.
Whoa.
And it's just phenomenally beautiful, and there's nobody there. Great combination.
That's amazing. All righty. Well, I guess I think we may still have a few more people turning out, but we will get going. Thank you all so much for being here today. I'm Amanda Milstein. I'm one of the co-leaders of Climate Health Now, and I'm here with Mike Harris, who you're going to hear a lot from shortly. We are both pediatricians, and this came together. This is going to be a bit of like a slapdash experience because the idea for this was born relatively recently, but we're really excited to be able to share this with you all. So essentially what we're going to do, and we think we can probably do it in half an hour, is talk really briefly about what is going on with the two bills that Climate Health Now has been working on, how letters to, what is a letter to the editor, why is it important, and then share some templates with you all that you can modify and submit in real time before we get off the call. Alrighty, so just a very brief overview of where we are right now and kind of why this moment in time is so important. So CHN, starting in the winter of 2023, worked with our advocacy advisory team, who are 6 people who work in various intersections of climate, health, and equity policy across California, recommended to us a series of different bills that could be impactful for us to bring our health voices to for this legislative cycle. And our leadership team took those recommendations, and we've ended up working on 2 bills that you see here, SB 394 and AB 579. SB 394 creates a master plan for sustainable and climate resilient schools in California. That is feeling extremely relevant to me right now in the Bay Area, where the AQI is like close to 200. And what this bill would do is essentially create a roadmap for California K through 12 schools to inventory their emissions and then to decarbonize, to essentially to electrify, and also to put in much better air filtration and ventilation than they currently have. And then AB 579 requires all new school buses purchased or leased in California to be zero emission by 2035, which has obviously huge implications for child health and carbon emissions and local air quality as well. Excitingly, both bills have gotten very far in the legislative cycle. So they both got out of their house of origin. Then they had to get out of their opposite house. So both the Senate and the Assembly nearly unanimously voted yes on both of these bills. Then they had to go back to their original house and get out again, which they did. And now they are in front of Governor Newsom to sign. And the way that our legislative cycle works is that Newsom has until October 14th to sign or veto any of the pieces of legislation in front of him into law. One really important thing to understand about our legislative cycle is that the legislature, Assembly people and senators, can't override his veto. So if Newsom vetoes these bills, even though the legislature passed them nearly unanimously, there isn't a mechanism for them to override that. So I'll pause super quickly and see, does anyone have questions on this or comments?
I would just add one thing here that
Yeah.
Newsom, like his predecessor Jerry Brown, both of them being liberal Democrats, both of them with strong environmental records, both governors have not hesitated to veto bills, even with wide support in the legislature when they passed, on fiscal or other grounds. So the fact that an overwhelmingly Democratic legislature passed, especially SB 394, where there was exactly one no vote from Assembly and Senate combined on the final vote, we do not take it for granted that the governor would sign the bills.
Thanks, Mike. Anybody else with questions or comments at this point? Feel free. I mean, this is a small group, so people can just come off mute, and if anything comes up, we'll keep going. Okay, Mike, the floor is yours.
All right, great. So why are we doing this? Why do we bother with letters to the editor? Okay, one is just pure numbers. Okay, we've all got friends and family we can email to and go, oh, please, go ahead and do this. But even the paper that is my local paper, the Santa Rosa Press Democrat, okay, it has a circulation reach, according to them, of 250,000 people. Excuse me, if you look at much more major big city papers, the San Francisco Chronicle, San Jose Mercury News, the LA Times, they're going to be an order of magnitude more than that. So even if just a very, very small percentage of people read this letter and go, okay, I'll do something, that's much more than you're going to be able to generate just through your own contacts. Okay. Multiple letters are important because this is well known in the industry. If a editorial page editor receives multiple letters on the same topic, they are more likely to print one of them than if they only get one letter. And this third point is more anecdotal, but I've certainly seen it happen not only for myself, but also for other people I know. If the editorial page editor likes your submission, they're much more likely to look at it more favorably the next time you're going to write another one. And so I had a great deal of success, both where I lived previously in Marin and now currently in the Press Democrat, in getting letters published. So it's a good thing to essentially become a known person as far as your local paper. So that's the entire purpose of why we're doing this. And then this is the Google Doc. We would like you to all go ahead and open that. And also what I'm recommending that you do is simultaneously open up a blank Word document for yourself. That's where you can do your copy and paste work, okay? We have letters for each of the two bills. And you can pick which one you would prefer to write on. Now you'll notice in the options, the ABC options for one and the ABCD for the other, they sort of each touch on various issues. One is heat, one is fires and smoke. You want to try to make your letter as relevant to your local circumstances as possible. So again, looking at where I am up here, in Sonoma County, major issue is fires. There is still a lot of PTSD in the community over the massive fire that destroyed hundreds and hundreds of homes in 2017, and then subsequently in 2020 with the massive fires coming from the north part of the state in the fall. This area was extraordinarily affected. And so that's one, that I chose to use to go ahead and do that. All of these letters are, if you just take the first paragraph and then the ABC or ABCD option and then the closing paragraph, they're all under 200 words. 200 words is a standard word limit for letters to the editor. Some papers will let you go a little bit more. Others are very strict about it. So you can also, in a Word document, of course, you can go ahead and just hit word count and you'll be able to find out, exactly how many are in there. That's if you want to go ahead and edit yourself. If you do add something more local to your community, you may need to, chop some words out somewhere else to really fit it under the 200. If you don't already have the address for the email address for letters to the editor for your local paper. If you're a subscriber, there's generally two places that these are going to be. One is usually on page 2 on the masthead, where they have a little box at the bottom of the page and they list, the publisher and the editor, and then, where to contact for circulation and where to contact for submissions. The other place would be on the actual opinion page itself. And so failing that, you can always Google it, to find out, just name the paper and put letters to the editor and something might come up. If anybody is having trouble with that, I am more than happy to help you, offline afterwards. Let me just stick my email in the chat here so you can go ahead and feel free to email me. Okay, Beth, can we email the template later? Yes, absolutely.
We will. And I just wanted, yeah, Beth, we'll send all of this out, the template, the recording, everything. I also am just realizing so I hope everybody saw, I have pasted into the chat the link to the template. Is anyone having trouble opening that or can't see the chat for some reason? No,
And again, there's no specific, there's nothing saying that you need to use this text. We just tried to basically make it simple for you so you can do this like literally right now while you're online as a copy paste, but yeah, obviously if you have time later and wanted to go ahead and write your own, either using this information or, bringing in other stuff, absolutely feel free to do it. But if you want to, be done with it, you can be finished, having send it before we are even done with this webinar.
Thank you all. It's so easy.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question because I'm working on this right now, and the email address for the governor says, I assume legislative unit. Is that the right email address for the governor?
It is.
It is.
Okay.
We have learned that the hard way. Apparently,
Okay.
he was getting a lot of hate email when it was his name, and so
Okay.
changed it.
Got it. All right. Because I've emailed the governor before and it didn't look like that, but that's been a while.
Yes, yes, it is.
I have
new.
Sorry, I have a question. So my home paper, unfortunately, is fortunately, I don't know, is LA Times. And when I Googled LA Times letter to the editor, they actually have a form that like I'm supposed to fill out. And it also says that typically they run 150 words or less. So do you think I should, well, one, should I use this form or should I try and find an email address? And two, like if it's 200 words, I need to cut down to 150.
Use the form and cut it to 150. Okay. You might need to leave, the intervening option paragraphs off, to be able to do that, or just put one sentence in from them. 150 is really tight, and that's, relatively unusual for letters to the editor. Most I've seen are 200, but, it's their rules. I'd also point out whether they're submitting on the web form or submitting by an email. Some papers do ask for a phone number for verification, and that so the editorial page editor can call you and say, hey, we got this letter under your name. Is it yours? If you don't know whether that's necessary or not, I would just go ahead and include it because that's not going to get published. And also make sure that you include the specific city or town that you live in, because that obviously carries more weight if it's coming from somebody local.
Yeah, it does ask for my address and my phone number, and all of that is required. My other question though is that, okay, so you're saying like actually cut out the ABC part?
If you're going to need to make it 150 words, that's a really unfortunately tight limit. But that's why if you go ahead and just paste this into a Word document, then you can play with it, and then find out what it's going to take to cut in there. And also for address, all of us in the health community obviously guard our, personal information. Speaking sort of off the cuff here, I don't see any problem using your office address as your address of record. I mean, that's generally public information anyway, and I don't see a need for any health community member to put their home address in there. Use your office address.
So, but that doesn't get published, right? Even if it is
Correct.
like,
The city or town may get published, but the home address does not get published. That's correct.
okay, gotcha.
That's a really interesting idea, Mike. I hadn't thought of that, to
Yeah.
use your work address. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to send you anything in the mail anyway. So, but again, there's really no reason for, I mean, we generally guard that information for very, very good reason. And I see no reason to send it into a newspaper.
Mhm.
So is everybody able to get on the document and look at it? Anybody having any technical issue with that?
And Manny, it is lovely to see you. I just put in the chat again what we're working on, which is the template for basically for a letter to the editor about the 2 different bills. And it's structured so that you can just see through it and, pick, basically personalize it. And then Mike's suggesting put it in a Word document so that you can get your word count, which will vary depending on where you're going to submit. But let us know if you have any issues with getting into the document or questions.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. I'll take a look.
Okay, awesome.
And Ashley, you got your hand up.
Thank you. Should we put something about like, please join me in contacting Governor Newsom today, or because it could happen.
Absolutely, you can totally do that. Keep in mind the delay generally, and again, this will of course vary by newspaper, from submission to publication can be anywhere from 3 days to about a week and a half. It's entirely possible that if the letter that you're submitting is acted on by the governor, of course, it'll be a moot point by the time it would be published, and then therefore may not get published for that reason. But yeah, today is a very, very reasonable thing to add on there. One thing I'd also note in letters to the editor, of course, many of us now get our newspapers digitally. All right. And that's great when you have an email address in there, because if you're looking at it digitally, you can very often just click and it will open up your email client, and then you can, go right from there. But I would generally, for letters to the editor, avoid any long URLs, because those, for anybody getting it in print, anything longer than an email address isn't going to be something someone's going to type out and put into their browser or their phone to send an email. So while putting the short email is very appropriate, that's about as long as any type of link you ever want to put into a letter for the editor for any topic reason. And Vanessa raised a good point also. Again, so this is also more for the benefit of people who are watching this on the recording. I don't know if you'll be able to see the chat. She notes that her local paper won't let you do another letter in 30 days, after you've had one submitted. And that's a very valid point. A lot of papers don't. I've certainly seen in some papers some fairly frequent people who do get published well more than every 30 days. So I'm not sure how hard and fast a rule it is. But again, then finding a alternative paper, if you just submitted one to your major paper, is always appropriate thing to do.
Would you mind summarizing what the letter says?
I'm sorry, Beth, I didn't quite hear you there.
Would you mind summarizing what the letter says, since I can't open it? I'm sorry, I'm at work and it won't.
Oh, Beth, I'm so okay. What the letter to the editor actually says. I wonder if we can put it in the chat or
Screen share.
screen share.
Share. Yes.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, I was like, oh, this is going to be very long in the chat. Okay, can you see this?
I can't think.
Okay, so the top one is for 579.
Okay.
So it just has like sort of this, customizable opening about your, who you are. And then there's sort of choose your own adventure for why you don't like diesel school buses, or why you like electric school buses. And then the call to action at the end, in terms of how people can take action right now, call or email. And then the same thing for SB 394. And then the same call to action at the end.
Awesome.
And again, you can see, you know, the different themes in there in the, as Amanda very aptly described, the use your own adventure part, because you can pick which one, you know, are you dealing with heat? Are you dealing with smoke? Are you dealing with power outages? You know, all of these things can be more relevant to specific areas of our state, given the extremely wide range we're talking about.
And Ashley asked in the chat, he has until the 14th to sign. Yes, and I don't know if that is inclusive of the 14th or if it's really like midnight on the 13th. Does anyone?
I believe that the 14th is the last day that he can sign or veto.
Okay. And the other thing I was going to add, it seems, and anyone who has more info, feel free to jump in, but it seems politically like 579 is going to come up first. So if you're thinking of submitting two, I think the 579 one, it seems like he's going to vote yes or veto that sooner than 394.
Yeah, that's information we just literally got today, right, Amanda?
Yeah.
Any other questions? Anybody having any either content questions or technical issues on this?
Thank you for making it so unbelievably simple and easy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is, you know, you want to make action alerts really as easy as possible, and you know, you don't want to have to start from scratch every time you do this, and this is what we can do for everybody.
Sacramento Bee is also 150 words, so I'm still working on paring this down.
Yeah, 150 is tough.
I'm down to 160.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a lesson for me for next time, that, you know, when putting these together, I'm really going to have to try to create, you know, not just a 200-word version, but also a 150-word version, because the LA Times is the biggest paper in California. And so if they're limiting us to 150 words, then we got to come up with something that's going to fit.
Can I say AB 579 instead of Assembly Bill?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna stick them together.
Right.
I'm almost. Yes, I got it. I'm at 150.
Hey, there you go. All right, Schwinn, good work. Yeah, that's okay. So now we know a little bit more going forward for next time.
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to the LA Times. Thanks, guys, for making this super easy. It does ask about article in reference.
You're not doing this, and you're not making a comment on any article that they published.
Okay.
So yeah, you don't have to put anything in there.
Okay.
Essa? Oh, you're still muted.
Is there any way, Michael, that we can track what we send? Like, you know, they called me, well, I mean, as an organization, you know, are we trying to track what letters we send, I guess, is the question.
Yes, that is a really good question. As an organization, we are trying to track it. It's hard. If anyone has thoughts on how to do this, because obviously we are not looking at, nor would we want to be looking at what you're actually doing on your computer. But so for things like this, we would need you to tell us what you've done. So I had put this in the chat earlier, and I'll just say it now. If you submit one, like Ashley and Schwinn, I got both of you. We are like, if anyone else submits at any point, please let us know. You can email us at connect@climatehealthnow.org, and we update it in our database. So like in your oh, nice, Ashley, in your log, basically, like we would put down Vanessa submitted a letter to the editor on this day. And then obviously if you get published, we want to know that too, and we'll track that. And then we can also try to amplify that as well.
Yeah, when you send out the recording, Amanda, make sure you put like in the text of the email that you send out with it to ask people to go ahead and, email if they're submitting something, and then again, if it gets published. And then you can even have a separate section of website for, activism, and then, letters, op-eds, whatever, that people were able to get published.
Yes, good call. I will do that.
Yeah.
So far I have Schwinn and Ashley have both submitted. Is there anyone else who's actually sent it?
I will, but I gotta get down to 150.
Okay.
I'm down to 153. I'm close.
Oh my God, Bill, you're so
Wow.
right. And it's counting words, right? Not characters.
Words.
So can you do you have to put a space between AB and the number, or can you merge that?
Should be able to merge it. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be too picky about
Oh.
that. So yeah, that's a very good point. So you can knock that down to one word there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that. I took out, so Assembly Bill 579 turned into
Right.
AB 579.
That's true. No, that's a very, very good point. Yeah. And so, we'll also keep that in mind, obviously, the next time, with the next cycle that we need to do this, really be able to pare it down as much as possible for that 150. All right. Any other questions? If everybody's got these copied into Word documents, then you can basically take it on your own. And again, I put my email in the chat, so feel free to email me. I'll be available, pretty much the rest of the day today, and happy to help you out, with any other issues that come up on this.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Michael. Thank you,
Thanks.
everyone.
Thanks,
Woohoo.
everyone.
149.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yay,
Are
you
you,
did it.
Bill, are you submitting?
I'm going to, yes. I need
Okay,
to fill
I'm
out the
putting-
demographics and the form, but it will be submitted within the next 10 minutes.
Amazing. Okay, I got you down.
All right.
So Amanda, will you please, or you or Michael, please email me?
Yeah, yes, Beth, it's going to be an email to everyone. If I can remember it, I'll just like forward it to you after I send it, just to make sure you see it. But yes, I'm going to try to put that together this afternoon and send it out.
Awesome, thank you.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for
Alrighty.
coming and spending part of your lunch hour with us and doing this. And we're very, very much looking forward to getting further follow-up from you about these letters getting published.
What happens? All righty, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank
rest of the
you.
day.
All right. Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody. All
Thanks,
right.
Mike. I think
Yeah,
that
you're quite welcome. I think that went well.
went super well. We got a more turnout than I thought we
You can
would.
cut the recording.
Oh yeah. How do I stop the recording? I think I did. Oh no, I didn't.